Fire again. This time an APS employee claims he grabbed her at the Roundhouse and threatened her. Gardner says it didn't happen and that the videotape proves it. Here's News 13's Nancy Laughlin.
Just both sides have very, very different versions of what happened. You decide. Here at the Roundhouse during the session, there is always political debate, but APS policy analyst and legislative liaison Carrie Minipace says what happened between her and the governor's chief of staff went way beyond that.
He aggressively grabbed my arm. He yelled at me about the superintendent.
What did he say?
As it says in the letter, he said that the bowels of hell were about to open up upon Winston Brooks, and as his legislative liaison, it was my obligation to make sure he knew about that.
Minipace says it was last February, just after a controversial hearing on social promotion. This is surveillance of the two during their encounter. Minipace is wearing a green shirt, Gardner is wearing light blue. You can see the two meet, then part, but where they part too is on what went down that day.
He grabbed my arm and spun me around and held me to make sure that I could hear what he was saying.
Were you scared?
It was intimidating.
And I think there's one witness that doesn't have a political agenda, and that's the video. And it's clear that it was a very short interaction, and the things that are being alleged simply didn't happen.
Gardner insists he did not grab her.
She said she felt threatened. Do you feel like you threatened her at all?
Never. Never.
Gardner says the governor reviewed the videotape and is standing by him. But there is another man, Tom Sullivan, an education lobbyist also seen in this video, who backs Minipace's story and the message Gardner told her to send to the APS superintendent.
His parting comments as he turned to walk away were, well, then tell him that the bowels of hell are about to open up upon him and he's being measured.
It's 8 months ago, end of a session. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of politics swirling right now. And we're coming up on an election. I don't know. I can't speak to someone else's motivation, but it's a political building. A lot of politics.
I didn't want this to be public. I think that the issue now is my integrity is being questioned, and I'm a very truthful person and am not out to damage anyone in any way, but the truth is the truth.
Now, Minipace says she wanted an apology and wrote the governor a letter on APS letterhead asking for that. She says she never got one. Back to you.
Okay, Nancy, Gardner, Minipace, and APS Superintendent Winston Brooks did have a meeting after she wrote that letter last February. Gardner thought the issue was resolved back then. Another school threat revealed today. That makes 3 in as many weeks. The Albuquerque Police Department says they all have something in common: students in crisis. The latest threat to come to light was at a small Catholic school. News 13's Amanda Goodman is live in the Newsplex. Amanda?
Jess, in a letter to the parents, the school's principal said no students were ever in danger. Still, the concern was real. 3 different schools, 3 different death threats made by students.
I think this many this close together is kind of outside the norm.
The most recent threat was made by a 14-year-old student here at the Holy Ghost Catholic School near San Pedro and Gibson.
This one here in particular was one that resulted from bullying.
According to the police report, the 8th grader told fellow students he was going to bring a gun to school and shoot another student in the head because he was being picked on, even called gay. The school called police at the end of September to step in.
We not only send out our school resource officers who have advanced training in dealing with this, our crisis intervention team.
The student did not have any weapons, and his father's guns were securely locked up. The boy was taken in for a mental evaluation. APD says he will not be charged.
We recognize this person here may have been more hurt and angry as compared to somebody who is criminally violent.
A week before the Holy Ghost threat, APS got wind of a plot by 2 Tony Hillerman mid-schoolers to shoot up the school, then kill themselves. Those 2 6th graders were suspended for the school year. They've also not been charged. Then, just last week, a mid-schooler at McKinley threatened to blow up the school after getting into an argument with another student. He did not have a bomb, but he was suspended for the rest of the school year and charged with making threats. Now, APD says sometimes kids make these threats to get attention, not realizing how serious the consequences can be. Just back to you.
Okay, Amanda, it's not clear if the student in the Holy Ghost case was disciplined by the school. The school had today off. A motorcyclist was killed in a wreck tonight in northeast Albuquerque. Police say a white pickup was turning onto Spain off a tramway and the two collided. The victim hasn't been identified yet. He's a man in his 20s or 30s. Police don't know if speed or alcohol played a part. One man was killed and another injured after a South Valley shooting this morning. Deputies tell us they were shot at a home on La Vega and Arenal at around 10. Then one left and called for help. He underwent surgery and is expected to be okay. No one has been arrested, but deputies say residents shouldn't be afraid of a killer on the loose. The second suspect in a strip club shooting has been caught. APD's gang unit arrested 31-year-old Richard Gallegos today. Police say he and Isaac Montoya were kicked out of Fantasy World near Jefferson and I-25 last month, then shot at two bouncers as they left. The bouncers were hit in the leg but are okay. OMI confirms the remains found last week a few miles outside of Tucumcari are that of a Tucumcari missing woman. Kimberly Draymond was last seen in mid-September. Friday, her body was found near the Ute Reservoir. She was last seen with 45-year-old Frank Keller. He was found in Las Vegas, Nevada, driving her car and was arrested on another charge. The case is being investigated as a homicide, but for now, Keller isn't charged with her death. He has been sent back to New Mexico. Two of the most powerful state senators up for re-election are raising campaign cash like New Mexico's never seen before. Both of them are being targeted by the governor's office. News 13's Katie Kim is in the Newsplex.
Jessica, Senate President Tim Jennings and Senate Majority Leader Michael Sanchez have been two of the governor's biggest opponents, and the governor's office is doing whatever it can to make sure they don't return to the roundhouse. Longtime lawmakers Michael Sanchez of Belen and Tim Jennings of Roswell run the state Senate. Together, the two men often decide if a bill lives or dies. But right now, experts say the two Democrats are fighting for their political lives.
And they've got a lot of outside money, trying to combat them.
And a lot of it is coming directly from PACs run by Governor Susana Martinez and her political team. The PACs are spending thousands to send mailers attacking the senator's records. Jennings and Sanchez have been key in blocking key parts of the governor's agenda, including her push to repeal driver's licenses for illegal immigrants.
When you've got the governor's PAC getting involved, that outside influence, I think, just increases their need to raise a lot of counter funds.
So far, Jennings has raised more than $200 grand, almost 6 times more than his Republican opponent Cliff Pirtle has raised. Sanchez has collected more than $180,000, nearly triple what his challenger State Rep David Chavez has taken in.
Typically, folks don't have to raise a ton of money. $20,000, $30,000, for example, might be able to get you a competitive shot at winning the race.
That was certainly the case 4 years ago when Jennings raised just $42 grand and Sanchez $15,000. UNM political science professor Gabe Sanchez thinks this is just a sign of things to come for high-profile state races.
I think it's difficult to win seats going door to door. It's still possible. I hope we see some of that in the future, but I think it's the days of high finance.
Donors have contributed more than $1.6 million to both the governor's PACs. The governor's political strategists would not say how much they've thrown into each state Senate race. Back to you.
Okay, Katie, Democrats are getting help from a PAC of their own. According to the Secretary of State's website, that PAC has raised almost $780,000.